So hi, Wangene. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a testimonial. I know you have just finished up the program, or you're actually in process, but you got the ultimate result you want already. So I'm really excited to have you on and just kind of share your experience with working with me and kind of what it was like. So I guess just starting off with basics, how did we meet each other? Can you share like how you discovered CultiVitae in the first place?
Yeah. Hi, Emily. I definitely can do that. So a little background. I actually am from Austin, Texas. I moved to LA a couple weeks ago. And when I was here in LA for vacation, and I want to say late June, early July, I went to an event hosted by Lean in Los Angeles and met the head of the chapter, who was awesome. And she was like, hey, like, if you're looking to get a job in the LA market, like, you should check out CultiVitae. Emily's awesome. She's a career coach. She has a ton of resources. And she's just someone you should follow and know about. And so I was like, okay, cool. And that was when I had a job in Austin. Fast forward to, I want to say a week later, basically I got back from that vacation, and the craziest thing happened in my life. In the space of literally 1 week, so 2 weeks after vacay, I got into a car accident. So walking was very difficult. I got laid off from my job, which was also challenging. I had to move out of my house because my long lease was up. And then I was like, well, I think the universe is speaking to me. I think this is a sign, right? This is a sign. I'm going to move to LA. Like, I'm going to move to Los Angeles because I've always wanted to move to Los Angeles. I'm going to make the jump. And then what I came up against was, oh, wow, that's a lot of things. Like, between the accident and, like, having to, like, move housing and then having to find a new job, I was like, you know what? This is, like, too much for me to handle all by myself. Like, I need help. And what I realized is that I had a lot of different types of problems to solve, right? So the biggest one was get a job. And then, like, every problem underneath that was, like, super related. But I was like, I can talk to someone and work with somebody who has solved this problem for other people and knows how this problem works.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do it by myself, which means that my, like, chance of being successful just goes up exponentially. So that was, like, the biggest reason I was like, you know what, like, the price of inaction, like, given all the things that I'm facing, like, again, like, car, job loss, relocation, like, the price of inaction was just too great. And I said, you know what, I will figure out how to make it work because I have to take action.
I love that. And I have to say, you were so strong and resourceful because, you know, anybody who gets into a major car accident gets told like you're no longer coming to work, and like having to move to a new state without zero contacts, like that is huge. You have so much going on, and I'm just curious because I think a lot of people, they feel when they have all these financial strains, they're figuring out like, how do I even invest in myself when I have all these bills and all these unexpected debt like come up. How did you push past that? Because I talked to a lot of job seekers who are, it's a little bit interesting because they're in this like chicken or the egg situation. Like, well, I'm broke right now. I don't have a job. I've been unemployed. Like, I want to invest in myself, but I can't until I get the job. But then it's like, well, how do you get the job if you don't invest in yourself? So speak to us about how you decided to make that work and that decision.
So that is actually a huge part of why I was like, you know what, I gotta just make the jump. I have to, like, take the next step because that was a huge reality. Like, for me, like, again, just facing so many things, like financial pressures are real. Like, even on our first consulting call, like I shared, I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to make this work. Like, financially, I'm just like, wow, this is a lot of uncertainty and a lot of overwhelm. But I had to look at it and say, if I don't do this, what is my life going to look like a year from now?
Yes.
Like, if I decide to just use the strategies that I've been using, which haven't really been working for me, like, what is that price? Like, if I say, okay, fine, I'm just not going to, like, get help that I know I need, or, like, I'm not going to find somebody who has better strategies and better resources, and I just am going to, like, take what I can get, then a year from now, I'm going to be stuck in the same city, stuck in a job I don't necessarily like or want to be doing. I will have been even more frustrated with myself for kind of like abandoning all of my long-term goals. And I had to just look at that and be like, I will find a way to make it work. Whether it's like finding freelance clients and doing it that way, whether it's like asking for help, whether it is just budgeting and being like extremely clear about like, okay, like I'm not going out on weekends anymore. I mean, I couldn't because I couldn't walk because of a car accident, but like I'm not going out on weekends for the next like 6 months. That's fine. Like I just had to say, you know what, like this is worth it and it's an investment in me. And I would rather invest in me and figure out how to be maybe a teeny bit less comfortable in the short term and then have that long-term payoff be, okay, like I moved toward my goals, I moved towards the vision, I moved towards the things that matter to me, and it was worth it, you know? So
beautiful. Oh my gosh, that is so insightful. And I love your whole thing about like the cost of inaction is going to be more damaging than just figuring it out, to like put all of your like all your finances into just yourself and knowing that this will pay off in the long term. So let's talk about that, because you just moved to LA 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Job. Amazing. That's my dog. But so tell us about your like strategy and how you made that happen, because you had so much in the works.
Okay, so this is getting real. So for me, and like full disclosure, this definitely not my first coaching experience, and this is, I think, because it wasn't my first coaching experience. Like I had proof that coaching worked for me. Like it had worked so many times before, and so I started out with coaching with kind of like a general like life coach who talked about values and like energy and how you're showing up, and that was a great experience. Then I worked with a financial coach, which like she really helped me say, okay, like yes, this is going to be hard. It's going to be a tough transition. Like, and this was even before the car accident and like the job layoff and like all these things. Like this was like pre the LA vacation. And it was the point where I was like, okay, I do want to move to LA in the next 6 months. How do I make it happen? Right. But again, that process of just saying like, here's the end goal. Here's like the vision. Here's what I want to accomplish once everything is like done and I've made the leap, and then just working backwards to say like, okay, like if you're ending up at step Z, what's like, what are all the steps before that? Like, so like G, F, I, like just like however you reverse the alphabet. Clearly it's not my skill set. Would not win a spelling bee, but like again, just like working backwards to map out that strategy and map out things that feel effective for you. Because I feel like one of the things that happens when you're like, okay, I'm gonna like move to a new city and change my job and change my life, is that you like forget that like all like the Medium and like Inc. articles or Forbes articles being like, this is how you fix everything. They don't necessarily work for you, right? Like you have to find the best tools and next steps and make them manageable and small enough that you'll actually do them. And so I think that was huge for me.
Yeah, because there's a lot of advice there on the internet, and a lot of it is conflicting advice. One, the other is really bad advice. Like,
true.
I'm like, I would never share this with my clients. But ultimately, like, those are really cookie cutter, and for somebody who's writing from their experience, it may have helped them and it may have worked for them, but their situation, their background, their experiences, their like comfort level, their personality are not you. And so you could like try it, but without the like formula for yourself or the mindset for yourself, it's really difficult to say like, this is the cookie cutter approach, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So share with me, Wangene, like, how did you ultimately get this position that you just started, and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, okay. Would love to. So really happy to announce that I've started at Beats by Dre in marketing.
Awesome.
Yes.
Plug for them, by the way.
Yeah, right? Like, go by Beats. I love them. And so for me, how I got there, again, kind of just working backwards, is I knew that I'd worked like in tech and entertainment and marketing and music. I knew that those were all like my strong suits. And I'd actually been applying at a couple different companies and like throwing resumes into the void, which did not feel good. And one of the things that we really worked on, and that Emily, you were so instrumental in, was saying, okay, like besides like throwing resumes just like into job black holes. What else can we do, right? So like opening up that scope of possibility, like being able to say, okay, so you're moving from a new city, building a network. Like you can reach out to people on LinkedIn directly. Like you can like kind of reach out to people who are in your network, people, alumni, like people you've talked to before, like people who are like interested in helping you or not, like, or just reach out, like find people on Facebook groups. So like just many different ways to connect with people so that, again, you're a person who could like fill a job role, not just like a resume in a pile. And then also to like getting a little more creative and getting a little more open-minded to like being able to say like, okay, like, yeah, we're told like you have to go from like birth to like college to like full-time job 401k, but like what if you expand the potential and think about like part-time jobs or like contract gigs or like freelancing or like all these like other possibilities that, like could work for you and get you like ultimately where you need to go. And like full disclosure, like the role at Beats is like a 6-month contract, and like I had never thought about contract work because like I come from a family where it's like you were just expected to like succeed and like have a full-time job and like be successful and like be stable. And the crazy thing though is that like this new role at Beats is literally perfect. It's like in terms of like kind of the work and like the job experience and like the salary, which is great and important, and like the length of the time. For me, it's like a much better launching pad into LA because like I don't know what I want to do in 6 months. Like LA has so many opportunities, and when I got here, I started realizing that. And so again, just being able to be in a position where I'm at a company I love, like doing work that I'm really good at and feel confident about doing, and like just like rebuilding like kind of my professional like skill set and reputation out here, again, in a role that gives me options and flexibility, which is what I ultimately want. Like that's really crucial.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that because work environment is so important to you, and having environment that you can jive with is so important. And so this is a really good launch pad, as you put it, to test it out and build relationships and see, but also explore this beautiful city that you now live in and figure out what else you want to do from here, while closing that unemployment gap, right? So there's a lot of purposes, and it's ultimately, like you don't have to go for like that full-time thing right away, but the next thing we're working on is mapping out your long-term, right? And so you have a strategy, you have a plan in place.
Definitely.
So a real clear roadmap, I think, is really important, because I know so many people who just are on autopilot and they take the first thing that comes their way, and then they're like, well, where, like, I feel stuck now, like, where do I go from here? But you're consciously thinking, this is what my values are, this is where I want to be, this is my mission, this is my ultimate goal, and this is serving a purpose.
100%. Oh, and then another strategy that was like, again, so helpful that like, Emily, you were just like great enough to be like, hey, like try this. And what I love, like when you suggest things, it's never like, oh, like I know everything, do all the things I tell you. It's more like, no, try this, it could work for you, and like try it in a way that works for you. One of the things that like I had, again, never considered was working with recruiters. And like that was super, super, super helpful. Like I just like never even thought about recruiting agencies because like, again, like I was told you have to have a full-time job and like work till the day you die. But like recruiting agencies ended up being really helpful for 2 reasons. One, because recruiting companies have a lot of different relationships. And so you're just like expanding and broadening like your reach, like the number of companies you can talk to and the number of companies who you might be a fit for. And then 2, which I think is really, really crucial when you're searching and when you're like in the process of both coaching and job searching, is you get more feedback. Like you understand like your strengths, you understand how you show up, you understand how people like respond to you, and you've got a really clear picture of like, oh wait, like okay, like I am valuable as a candidate. This is what I bring to the table, and like just that process of like being able to explain it to people who like are going to be your best advocates, like that's a really powerful thing.
Oh, definitely. And you get so much good market data and the feedback. And I'm sure like as you started getting presented to their clients, like your confidence built up each time.
Definitely.
Which is super helpful in the job search process. So Wangene, share with me, what did you find the most helpful in working together?
Yeah, so I think what I found most helpful would be a process we started super, super early. And it was called the 7 levels of energy. And it was basically just kind of like kind of presenting a framework for, again, how you show up. So, I mean, I don't want to like steal your thunder. So if you're interested in the 7 levels of energy, go talk to Emily. But like a quick overview, it's basically just like how you show up in different situations. So like, my energy is like very like level 6. Like I like believe in flow, and like that's like something that like I do a lot. Like I'm a really creative person, if you can't tell. And so kind of bringing that like flow state energy is something that like I like value and something I really care about. But kind of one of the things that I noticed, and one of the things that like Emily, you were really instrumental in, is that when I experience like just overwhelming challenges, like I sometimes will go into level 1, which is like the level of just like apathy and like passiveness, and like I can't do it, like I lose. And like that's just not a productive state to be in. Like when you have to be proactive, you have to keep going, you have to like push forward. And so just having that framework kind of as a basis to say, you know what, I can choose how I show up. And like there's some challenges here, but like I make the decision, and like I get to like kind of show up energetically in ways that like work for me. I think that was really powerful.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because most job seekers are in level 1 energy, because it's and every time you get a rejection or you get a no response, like you start to wonder and question, is it me? Like, what's wrong with me? That's all the mindset, and really the confidence, the communication, and the choice of deciding I want to be somewhere else. And I know I asked you when you got your job offer, like what made you the most successful about that? And you said it was really your mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. And you had a lot, like, I want everybody to know, like, if Wangene can do this, you absolutely can do it. Because Wangene, you literally had so many things stacked against you. Like, many, many life things, not like minor things, like major things. Like, where am I going to live? Where's my next paycheck? How do I get out of these hospital bills, right? So you had a lot. And I want everybody to know, like, how resilient you were, because I am, like, inspired by tenacity. But also your action, like you said, you didn't just take everything as level 1, like, okay, I can't do anything, woe is me, like, I'm just going to sit here and hopefully somebody finds me a job. You were out there, you networked. The list of, like, people you made genuine connections with in the first 3 weeks of LA was, like, this long. I had to, like, literally move my hand up. Yeah, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm going to get emotional. Okay.
No, it's really inspiring. And I want people to know this, because you just like knocked it out of the park. So last question, because I think we're coming up on time, is like, if anybody is on the fence about coaching, like what would you say to them specifically about career coaching?
Yeah. So I would say that your career is the most important decision that you're going to make, because it is directly about how you spend your time, what purpose you feel like you bring to your life, and like how you show up, like, and kind of bring energy to your own life. I think that it's easy to be like, oh, I'll just figure it out later, or like, oh, like, you know what, like, I can just like take a job. No, like, you deserve
control.
Yes, you deserve to care about your life. You deserve, think about like anyone who's like your personal hero. Like mine is Beyonce, always.
I hope you get to meet her in like your company when she like emotional piece.
But like whoever your personal hero is, like, right, you likely admire them for a reason. Like you likely are like, I love how they show up. I love like how purposeful they are. I love the impact that they have. But the thing is, like, and what I've realized through this process is you get to be your own hero.
That's powerful.
And it's a huge realization that I think career coaching can point you in the direction of really specific, actionable, measurable steps you can take to become your own hero. And I'm going to just have to say, like, Emily is like the best partner I could have imagined, like, for this process. So like, y'all, like, don't sleep.
Much. No, that means a lot. And I know, you know, a lot of people are feeling like they can't take control of their careers. Like they just feel stuck. And I hear that so many times. So again, just like hearing your story and seeing what you were able to do and you becoming your own superhero, like that is priceless. Like and I hope people realize that. And I want you to, like, I want to ask you, Wangene, like the skills that you learned through this program, is it a one-time thing? Like, or are you going to approach this and carry this with the rest of your career?
Oh no, it's like definitely, it's like, I think once you level up, you don't like go back. You don't like drop down levels. Like no, like it's like skills, just ways of thinking, ways of framing things, like ways of approaching things, like ways of just being again strategic. Like I'll have them for the rest of my life. It is an investment in me, and like it's also a relationship. I think like that's the other thing. Like it's lifelong. So
yeah. So like the next time like you find yourself in this state of job searching or feeling like, I'm stuck in my current job, you now have the tools and the strategy to like make it happen. So what does that do for your confidence and like internal? I'm curious.
yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest thing, it's like again a takeaway that like I like just learned this, and I'm like, wow, it took me a while to learn this, but I'm glad I learned this now, is that you get to make your career. So like I have an opportunity now where I was like, oh wait, here's what I want to do. Like instead of like waiting for somebody to like post the job role, I like went directly to the person. I was like, hey, like here's how it can help. Like, could we have a conversation? And the thing is, they said yes. Like, like
Tapping into the 85% hidden job market.
Like being proactive, using frameworks, like working with great people, that's never, ever, ever, ever gonna like disadvantage you. It's always gonna be a benefit. So like, again, just get proactive and realize that you get to create opportunities for yourself. Like that is like the benefit of coaching.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you so much. You shared so much great insights. I appreciate that. And thank you so much. It's been really wonderful working with you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much as well. And also, if y'all have any questions, I'm on Medium, like wangene.com or Wangene. You'll find it, Wangene. But
if you want.
Yes. We'll include the link. And I'll be posting and like sharing a little bit about like my journey and my story. So like, if you're like, how did she do it? Also, like, did she like really like have like if you want to know any more, like, and you want to know more about like Emily's coaching style and just like some of the things that like I thought were just like really excellent, like feel free to reach out.
Oh, that is so kind of you to offer. And I love, because we talked a lot about online personal branding, and you're totally flying with that. I love how you have your own domain with your first name. That's amazing.
Sorry to get here.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Wangene. Let me go ahead and pause this.